time for another analysis. This time we're going to be looking at this scene between Mike and Will in Will's bedroom right before the shootout. This scene is really pivotal for Mike and Will's friendship as well as both of their arcs this season. So first we see Mike come into Will's room and kind of break the ice with a little joke. It's kind of borderline flirty. I'm not going to say it's all out flirty, but it kind of gives those vibes, if you know what I mean. Mike basically makes it clear that he's self-aware of his behavior. Will didn't really have to say anything to Mike. Mike just knew that he was being kind of an asshole. Then we see Will give Mike this coy smile, and it's met with this coy smile. Mike brings up what's been going on in the last few days, and Will immediately just accepts all blame, even though we as the audience know that most of the blame falls on Mike's shoulders. This shows us just how selfless Will really is. Mike seems almost offended by the fact that Will is trying to take blame, even though Mike was the one blaming him at the roller rink. So here we see a big change in Mike's demeanor in terms of his interactions with Will. He starts to tell Will that he feels like he lost him because he was too focused on Elle. He gets a little nervous, but he basically tells Will that no matter what's going to happen next, he wants Will to be by his side. This really validates Will's feelings and makes him feel seen by his best friend. We see throughout this entire scene that Mike is being pretty vulnerable with Will. He's basically pouring his heart out to Will about how he wants Will back in his life. Then we see Will give another cute smile, and Mike serves the Will smile. Then as the car pulls up, we see both of them kind of tear their glances away from each other, almost as if they got caught doing something they shouldn't have been doing. This kind of shows us that in this scene, they sort of had gotten lost in each other a little bit. I think this scene is really pivotal for both of them. Before this, things were pretty awkward, and after, things slowly started building up back to being best friends. This whole scene feels a little more romantic than friendly to me. This really gets the ball rolling in terms of their friendship building back up, but also it kind of shows us that Mike really doesn't have a problem with expressing his feelings. We know that the other part of Mike's arc in season 4 was that he could not tell Elle he loved her. He practically refused when she was begging him to say it. This conversation makes it feel like Mike not being able to express his emotions is really just an issue with him and Elle. Even though we saw these two argue at the roller rink, they were able to patch things up without even really explicitly stating the problem. Basically, all they had to say was, I miss you too, and everything was hunky-dory again. This conversation does not explain away Mike's behavior, but it does serve as a turning point.